If they asked me, I could write a book about the way you walk and whisper and look.
Joining us now on our Book Talk segment, great to welcome a woman who's written a book that is very interesting and helpful as well. We're going to find out about it. It's called 30 Million Words, Building a Child's Brain. We're joined today by Dr. Dana Susskind from, I believe, Chicago today to talk about it. And Dana, good to have you with us. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm great.
Yeah, I had a chance to read through the book a bit. First of all, I guess we should tell the audience you are a surgeon, a cochlear implant surgeon. So that kind of got you interested in this project, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it was my experience actually as a cochlear implant surgeon implanting children who had been born deaf that really opened up my eyes to the power of language to build brains.
It's fascinating just that they can even do that. I've heard of that surgery. I know in our industry, the radio industry, Rush Limbaugh had that as an adult, but I didn't know they could do that on children. So that's great news.
Yeah, it is. It's quite powerful.
And that led you to study this aspect of how language affects children and helps them develop the brain better, right?
Yeah, so I started, the program probably about 9 years ago and started implanting children from all walks of life with all the same potentials to learn how to talk. And I started noticing these huge differences in the outcomes of my patients. Some would be talking and reading on par with their hearing peers after implantation. Others would barely be able to communicate. And it was that experience with these children that really led me to say, why these profound differences when they started with the same potential. And it really led me on this incredible journey that really opened my eyes to the fact that the differences I was seeing in my patients had nothing to do with their hearing loss, but actually the world in which they had been born into and the language exposure that they had been exposed to. And that was the huge difference. It took me on this crazy, amazing journey.
Yeah, Betty Hart and Todd Risley are the two people that did the study, right, back in 1995 about children that hear 30 million fewer words, right, by their fourth birthdays.
Yeah.
So they have a harder time developing their language skills.
Exactly. I mean, so one of the first studies that I learned that really opened my eyes was the study that you mentioned by Betty Hart and Todd Risley that followed a whole group of children and their families, between 0 and 3. And what they found was that by the end of the age of 3, children often born into poverty, although not always, will have heard 30 million fewer words than their more affluent peers. And just the difference in hearing the amount of language predicted not just differences in vocabulary, and of course they had half the vocabulary than their more affluent peers, but in third grade even they saw differences in IQ and test scores. So the profound impact of language and how much parents talk to their kids was not just about vocabulary, it was about brain development. And so it really, you say, well, what does that do? What did that have to do with your own patients? Well, hearing, deafness and hearing is really not about the ears, it's about the brain. So I was able to, give my patients implants so that they could hear, but if they were born into homes without rich language, the brains didn't realize that the sounds were meant for communication. And so that was my experience, and I started working on a program for children with hearing loss, but pretty early on realized that what I was seeing in my hearing loss population really just mirrored what was going on in the typically developing population. And these differences in language were really the beginnings of the achievement gap as we know it.
Yeah. It's amazing to me, and you talk about it in the book, how we're all kind of born, I guess, with something already implanted in the brain that allows us to learn language. You really just kind of pick it up on your own. You don't really have to do much effort other than hearing, right? Or if you have that ability to hear language, that's how you learn it. But it's amazing how that works.
It is amazing. I think that's why there's been an explosion in this area, because really the brain science has exploded. And when you really think about it, right, our brains, when we're born, are pretty undeveloped. Our heart, our lungs, they're fully developed, and they don't really change a whole lot except they get older. But our brains are totally dependent on what they encounter in the first 3 years of life. Really, the language is building the brain architecture. And in fact, 80 to 85% of our physical brain grows in the first 3 years of life. And that's why it's so important that we understand that learning doesn't start on the first day of school, but really the first day of life. and we really need to focus our efforts in this area.
As a doctor, have you figured out, I think you describe it in the book, the brain is kind of a big mass of grayish goo, how it works. And you've studied it. I mean, how does it work? It's amazing.
It is quite amazing. If I knew totally how it worked, I would. I know a lot. No, I mean, I think what's amazing is that really all the brain science research is really going to allow us to understand not only how to, make this a more, give every child a chance to reach their potentials, but, it'll give us insights into how we act and why we do things, and, so, yeah, no, it's very exciting.
Let's talk for a couple of minutes about some of the examples you give about ways of descriptive language that helps the children develop quicker. I guess you have a couple here in the book. As opposed to saying you're so smart, you can say you worked really hard, right? So there's different ways to say things that will help develop language skills better. Is that right?
Yeah. So the book, even though it's translating the science, we really also give practical strategies on the different ways that you can build your child's brain. And before, the core of how to give a rich language environment is what we call the 3 T's. The tune in, talk more, take turns. Tuning into what your child's interested in, talking about it, and then really looking at your child as a conversational partner. But what's so amazing about language is that it can build different aspects of who your child is. So the example that you gave is, which example did you give again?
The one where said, instead of saying you're so smart, say you worked really hard.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so the example you gave is the difference between the different ways you can praise your child and how it actually makes them work harder. So just imagine you have a toddler on the floor doing a puzzle, and all of a sudden he got it right. And your first instinct is like, oh, I want to really praise him and say, you are so smart. I mean, I do that all the time. But in truth, the other way you could praise him is say, wow, I loved how hard you worked on that puzzle. And you sort of say, well, what's the difference? I mean, they're both sort of praise. In fact, the research shows that by praising his act, the process of doing the puzzle, it actually builds a grit, if you will, that he'll persevere through he or she will persevere through challenges, because he knows, well, with the next challenge he gets, if it's really hard for him and you praise him for his hard work, he'll like, you know what, I just have to work harder to get through that hard problem, that hard math problem, or that hard puzzle. Whereas if you had said, wow, you are so smart, the next time that he gets a really hard puzzle to do, he'll be like, and he can't do it, he'll be like, oh, maybe I'm not that smart, I'm going to just quit. So, this book shows all the different ways your words can build your child, not only to work hard, but actually your baby's math ability. We don't usually think about helping your child learn math early on, but even using shapes and comparisons and number words builds your child's ability to do math when they start school.
I know my mother told us, my sister and myself, she used to talk with us. We were just, in the stroller, real young. We didn't understand them particularly, but having conversations with us. I guess that's a good thing to do. Just talk to your baby, even if they don't know exactly what you're saying. They're picking it up, right?
Absolutely. That's probably why you're on radio. Exactly. You have to thank your mother, because that's exactly what it is. Just because a baby doesn't respond or have real words, their brain is this active firing, clump of neurons that are just soaking everything in. So actually now every time I look at a baby, I'm like, wow, you are amazing. So.
Well, the book is 30 million words, and really is a fascinating study that you put in the book and your personal story as well. It's 30 million words building a child's brain. We've been talking with Dana Sustrom today. And Dana, you have a website you want to direct people to? They can get more information and the book?
Absolutely. So it's 30millionwords.org.
Continue this program with the 30 Million Words program, right? So people can get information on that as well, right?
Yes. And I want to mention that it's 30 with a THIRTY rather than the number.
Spelled out, right?
30millionwords.org. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it, and hopefully we can talk to you again. Thanks for joining us.
Sounds great. Thank you.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles Media.